3 months of protests, 3 months of promises being made after the Delhi Bravehearts rape and murder, but 90 days later is the capital and its satellite towns even more unsafe for women. Statistics show rapes have more than doubled in the first 2 months of 2013. And now a case that's chillingly similar to that one in last December. A girl visiting a mall, taking a shared auto back home, gagged and raped for over 2 hours in that moving auto, and nobody had a clue.
It was a little after 8 p.m. when a 19-year-old girl took an auto rickshaw from a busy market area in Ghaziabad. The auto already had 2 men, but she wasn't worried. Sharing autos is usual here. For 2.5 hours, she was pinned down, gagged and raped.
The 19-year-old girl got into one of the autos like these. Sharing autos is a fairly common phenomenon here in the Ghaziabad region. She was told that the 2 other men sitting inside the auto were actually passengers. Little did she know that they were in cahoots with the driver who had actually stolen the auto and taken her for a joyride. On their way, the auto crossed 6 police checkposts, but neither the police and the cops stationed on those checkposts nor the ones in the PCR vans patrolling the highway could get a clue about what was happening inside the auto. After having raped her on one of the secluded areas on the national highway, the 3 men left her on the road, but not before they robbed her of all her cash and even her mobile phone. Around midnight, crying and bleeding, desperate for help, this is the dhaba the girl came to. It's only then that a PCR call was made. After the brutal attack on the medical student in a moving bus in the national capital, the police was forced to act upon and even increase its presence, especially in areas like the shopping malls and in public transport. This case yet again highlights how little things have changed on the ground. In Ghaziabad, Sonal Mehrotra, NDTV.
We're asking, 3 months on, has the Delhi Bravehearts' death changed nothing on the ground? Joining us tonight, Kavita Krishnan, Secretary of the All India Progressive Women's Association, someone who's been at the forefront of the protests after the Delhi Bravehearts rape and murder. Dr. Kiran Bedi, former IPS officer. Vikas Singh, former Additional Solicitor General of India, joining us from Bombay tonight. Shaina NC of the BJP. But Kavita Krishnan, let me begin with you. I mean, isn't it disheartening for you when after all these months of protests, of collective anger, of the government sitting up, taking notice, making so many promises, when it comes to the ground, there is a case that is so completely similar to the Delhi Bravehearts case that it really actually makes your hair stand on end?
Yeah, you're right. But I'll tell you one thing that is a source of hope in spite of it all. In spite of it all, you know, these cases are not new. They've always been happening. Nobody is going to imagine, none of us thinks that overnight it's all going to stop. All right, but I think the response of people and the fact that this is a movement that has continued to bring large numbers of people on the street more than 2 months after December 16th. That I think is very remarkable. Even tomorrow is 8th March and there is going to be another very large march of women, you know, from noon from Mandi House, and that's also going to be there. So I think that that is a source of hope. But you're right that in terms of the response which we hoped for from the government, from the police, we wanted things to change there. We don't expect them to work wonders and stop all this overnight. But we want them to be accountable and to certain norms and to really be sensitive to this kind of things that are happening. You're telling me that again, you know, this auto passed so many checkposts. Now you're having, I can tell you multiple instances of police who have stopped consensual couples, you know, going on in a car somewhere.
Right.
Even a woman alone.
Checkposts have gone up considerably as well.
Even a woman, no, checkposts they have stopped women who are driving alone.
Right.
Okay, to question them on where they are headed. But they didn't, you know, they haven't caught something like this, which there's an instance of such horrendous coercion happening in an open auto. You know, autos are open, you know, they're not closed.
Kiran Bedi, is it time then to actually ask questions about the kind of policing that is taking place in terms of preventive measures that are taking place on the ground?
Police is going to be part of a prevention plan. You don't put it outside the box. It's a part of a crime prevention plan. And in that plan, you've got to have the local area representative, the politician, the principals, the panchayats, the auto rickshaw unions, the drivers. You see, unless you have that as a community, it's like a Thana level committees. We need to get back to Thana level groups which work with the communities of that area. Unless we do that, we will not work on the prevention. So police is a part of that crime prevention plan which needs to be strengthened.
No, but when you actually see that 4 cases of rape were registered each day in the capital in 2013, there's been a 124% increase in rape cases in just these few months of 2013 alone. Then when you sort of think back to December...
This is a better reporting. Today this is an exposure of the disease. Earlier this was a hidden disease because you neither had a doctor nor a medicine. Now this is not it's not a sudden spurt that is coming in the media, so we do a rape. This was a hidden crime.
Why was it a hidden crime? Are you saying then the police refused to report cases of rape earlier?
Police was reluctant in registering cases. There was no faith in the judicial system. It will get expedited. I think it's a revival of some faith or revival of a hope that we've got to. I think it's also a revival of no shame in this. And media, the more you report, the more this will get exposed. I'm so glad that the whole disease is coming on the surface, hopefully. Now you're getting doctors in place, medicines in place, laboratories in place. So I think better registration, better reporting of crime, better exposure. Hope even the Supreme Court taking suo moto of certain violences. I think it's important that, and this is a new change. The crime is happening, but it's now getting exposed. Earlier there was a shame.
Shaina NC, do you think that is a true picture of it? The fact that there's been this sudden spike in cases of rapes being reported, is this merely a sense of better awareness, people more ready to come forward, people feeling more empowered, or are we also in a sense seeing a bit of doublespeak over here? Perhaps the police, fudging some of those figures, trying to say that, are we in effect seeing them say that we didn't actually report cases earlier?
Well, I want to say a couple of things. The fact that in Delhi you have about 4 rape cases being reported every day in 2013 is quite shocking. But having said that, I don't think that rape is a phenomenon which didn't happen. What upsets me is that you have the police playing moral police when 2 youngsters are holding hands, going around here or there, and that same police who should be on the job, making sure that, cases like this don't happen in terms of proper patrolling, making sure that they're sensitive when women go to report, whether it's a small case like molestation, whether it's a case of, eve teasing in public transport, or even serious crimes such as rape. I think that's the bigger question. But how does one control a situation like this? As I've said time and again, unless there is a fear of law, the perpetrators of crime are going to get away scot-free. Now, perverts in society do exist. Do we need to work on that? Of course, society needs to work in totality on the mindset, which starts with the political class, percolating down to the common man, etc., in our homes, in our spaces. But the larger question is, after this entire outrage in Delhi, where we thought we had kind of done something to make sure there's a change in mindset, clearly that's not the case after seeing the Ghaziabad case. So how do we step forward? It has to be a collective, measure where you have the fear of law, the guilty are punished immediately. You don't just have random budgets allocated by the finance minister, but we know where that budget is being used. Do we have enough patrolling? Do we have enough female cops? Do we have GPRS system? Do we have CCTV cameras? Do we have to make sure all this is in place, because otherwise it's going to be just one agitation which is lost after 1 month.
Would you like to respond to the point Shaina NC is making over here? We've heard a 1,000 crore Nirbhaya fund being announced by the government. We're still to learn of the details of exactly what this 1,000 crores is going to go towards. But then on the ground, when you see incidents repeating themselves with such chilling similarities, is there a point in saying that the fear of the law is not being instilled, or that message is not being sent across?
Well, my view is that as far as rapes are concerned, there are 2 aspects of rape. One is, the social and the sociological aspect, because anybody who commits rape is a sick person. And that sickness is coming by virtue of some fault in our education system, or some fault in our system which the society is not probably instilling the right values in our youngsters who are resorting to rape. So that's the social and the sociological problem. The policing problem is a more serious problem according to me. Policing is, I've always said, is a leadership job. I have seen in small areas, when there is a new SP who comes, honest SP comes in a district, crime goes down overnight in the district. Overnight, you will find that the average man in the district feels that there is a law enforcement.
But is that necessarily something that can be
But here in cities like Delhi, I mean, it's scandalous. After the last time all this uproar came, you suddenly had pickets, where these policemen just put these barricades and you were just having a chat and...
So in a sense, Kiran Bedi, I think the point that everyone is making in turn is that there's a sense of harassment almost. A single woman can't be driving on the streets on her own without being hauled up, without policemen saying things like, you'll get us into trouble because you're in a way, in effect, inviting rape. So there is all of that. But at the end of the day, why would this auto have crossed 6 police posts without anybody understanding that there was something like this going on? It's an auto rickshaw, really. I mean, it might be unfair to harp on one incident, but just given the similarities, I think we need to bring them up at least.
It's actually worse than the last case.
You're dealing with millions and millions. I would say that rape is going to be a crime we're going to be living with. But we must have a very intensive package of crime prevention. And I can tell you, with every police station where the communities will work together, you will start working on prevention. You will start preventing crime. Then you come to the reaction of
detection. But isn't policing a part of prevention and more sort
of
vigilant police?
Yeah. Therefore, I want them to be part of that, working together on a day-to-day basis at the ground level with the same local politician. In another few weeks, he's going to be asking for votes. Why can't he, with this team, hold corner meetings and educate people on crime prevention, make them aware of the latest laws, tell them about the punishment and registration? I think this is what is not happening. We got to work alongside.